Hi, I'm Sarah Jane from siliconmolds.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a life-size chocolate skull. We're going to be using white chocolate and the Wilton skull cake pan. It's made for making cakes, but you can also use it for chocolate. It's a 2-cell mould or pan, which is made from cast aluminium, I think, with a non-stick coating. It's got a nice shiny finish in the inside, which will give your chocolate a shiny finish. I'm going to use this is Couverture Belgian chocolate that I'm using today, white chocolate, and you want to melt that to 40 degrees centigrade, which is about 105 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you want to seat that with unmelted chocolate down to about 25 degrees centigrade, and then bring the temperature back up to about 28.5 degrees centigrade as a working temperature, which is around about 82 degrees Fahrenheit. You will need to use a chocolate thermometer to make sure that your chocolate is in the right temperature. Mine is currently held in temper in this electrical bain-marie. Make sure that you remove any unmelted pieces of chocolate before you begin to go on. So this chocolate that I have is already been tempered, and I'm just going to pour some of it into the mould. Doesn't matter what you do, you end up making a terrible mess when you're doing stuff like this with chocolate. I'm just going to spoon some of that. We'll do one side at a time. Just spin this into the actual mould. You'll probably want to, if you don't have an electric bain-marie like this, you can microwave temper your chocolate and just use a large bowl to keep it in and do this work. Okay. Stay. What I've done is I've about a third or more filled this cavity with the chocolate, and I'm just going to roll it around to coat all the inside of the actual pan. This is why it's worth doing one side at a time. Want a good coverage. Try and keep your fingers outside the cells because we don't want fingerprints on the finished chocolate. If it goes over the edges a bit, it's not too bad because we can scrape that up with our spatula. So give that a good pour. Roll round. If you need to, you can use your spatula just to bring it up to the edges. We don't want any bare spots. Oops. We don't want any bare spots because we want to join the two pieces together. So it needs to be right up to the very top seam. Once you've rolled that around, you've got a fairly good coverage on the inside. We're then going to turn it upside down over the top of your bowl or electric bain-marie and tip out all that excess liquid chocolate. What we're going to do is we're going to do that a few times, which will allow us to build up layers and get a good even coat on the inside of the mould. Slowing down now, most of it's running out. Just use your spatula or bench scraper to scrape off any excess. I'm just going to give my chocolate in the pan another stir. After 2 or 3 minutes, the colour of the chocolate on the inside of this pan is going to start to go a bit kind of matte finish as it starts to almost harden or set up. At that point, we're going to put in some more chocolate and do the exact same again and make another coating. It's already starting to go off. So again, we're just going to roughly have... When you repeat with the other side of the mould, you'll see that there's a rim about an inch down in the inside. If you were making a cake, that is the line you would cut your cake off at to join the back of the skull to the front. Now, the unfortunate thing with this pan is that the front and the back of the skull don't match and are not easy to join together. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour the chocolate to about this level here. Any excess is going to have to be trimmed away. So try and not come over this lip, or maybe put a line around the outside of that lip with a blunt table knife before the chocolate sets hard. We can then remove it much easier after it's released from the mould, which we'll show you just a little bit later. So I'm going to crack on and get this finished and get my 2 pieces set for you. Okay, I've now poured several layers of the chocolate skull, and if you see in this side of the pan, the chocolate is covered the whole of the cell, including the line where we want to mark the chocolate up to. So what I'm going to do to make things easier later is just take this spatula and run it around the top line where I want that chocolate to stop. That's where you would cut it if it was a cake. So I'm just going to run the spatula around that line. Now the chocolate is starting to set to give me a defined mark. And then as soon as this chocolate goes matte, which will just be another couple of minutes, I'm going to pop it in the fridge for about 15-20 minutes until it is nice and hard. Don't want to leave it in there too long. Hello, okay, we're back again. We've got our skull mould with our chocolate, which is now set up hard. I've also got some modelling chocolate. I'll show you in another video how to make modelling chocolate, but it's basically just a mix of corn syrup and white chocolate, which is made into a pliable paste, much like sugar paste or fondant, that you can work with in exactly the same way. It will, however, harden out and become more or less like chocolate and allow us to seam this skull in the 2 parts together. Now, it's quite warm today, but apart from that, if you touch chocolate after it's set, we're going to get fingerprints on the outside of it. We don't really want any marks on it, so I'm just going to put on some gloves. There you go, that's going to prevent us putting any fingerprints on the chocolate. Now this is actually tempered, and you can see the line where I ran my spatula across the ridge line to cut the top off. So as you can see, that piece comes off ever so nicely because it's already tempered. And these should free quite nicely. And I'm just going to gently turn it over and hopefully they'll fall out. Oops, there we go. Ah, nasty. I've got a crack in this. It was a bit thin and it was also put in the fridge before it was quite hard enough last night, because the temperature here is so warm at the moment because it's on excess of 30 degrees at the moment. It's quite warm in summertime. Chocolate's nicely tempered, it's just been thin in places and got a couple of cracks in it, but that's not a big deal. It's a skull at the end of the day. Now what we're going to do is join these 2 pieces together, because if I just turn this over, you will see that they just simply don't match. And we want to join those 2 together quite nicely, so I'm just going to round off or get rid of all these little bits of flash around the edges, just slightly. We'll worry about the rest of them later. And for this, what we're going to do to start with is get some hot water in a pan. You could also do this with a baking tray, but I've got a cake lifter here, which has got a nice big diameter on it and a flat surface. So I'm just going to put that on top of my pan of warm water. And what that's going to do is the heat from the water will transfer and just heat this plate. We don't want it hot, we only want it warm, but it will be enough to melt the chocolate. And I want to tack the 2 pieces together. So it won't take long, and I'll feel the heat coming through. I can feel it through the sides of the pan already. It's just water out the hot tap. And then we will seal this together. Now take my skull and put him on top. And as you can see already, the warmth is starting to come through this plate, and you'll see it start to melt. Now we don't want it all melty, but we just want to even up the edges so it's a nice flat, seamless finish. And we can bond the 2 pieces together. And this one's the raggiest one, so we'll do this one first. Now these two aren't going to join nicely anyway because there's a huge difference when they've come out of the mould. It just doesn't work, but we've got enough there to make those two parts tacky. And now it's just a case of putting them together as nicely as you can, and bear in mind that there will be a big seam. You're going to have to support this, so just hold it steady for a minute or two and let that chocolate bond to itself. I'm just going to put that scraper underneath there to hold that up a bit, just like that. We've got a huge big gap just here and right round the bottom, and we're going to seam that together with muslin chocolate. I need more than I've got out at the moment. That's tacking together quite nicely, and I'm going to start round the skull. So I'm just going to knead together some of this muslin chocolate and make a rope, a very thin rope to start with. And so just roll it out into sausage, and then we can, that's a bit thick yet. Roll it out into sausage and place that around the top of that seam. You want to handle this chocolate as little as possible because I really don't want it melting. I need a wider piece for wider sausage for at the bottom. And tack that on there, like so. And I need a piece up either side. And when you actually start to seam this in, some of it's going to disappear inside the skull, but that's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. Basically just push it in. And this stuff will seam and blend into the actual chocolate itself quite nicely. So first of all, you want to work on the base and just kind of merge that in. We can patch it up a bit later once the rest of it's holding firm. Just seam it in with your fingers. The thing is, when you've got a skull, there's plates in your head where they fuse together when you've been a small child, from you've been a baby. So we can recreate some of the seams in the head and lose these out. As you'll see, it'll blend out and smooth in quite nicely. And we'll disguise that later on. So it's just a case of seaming it all in, all the way right round. You probably need to do a bit, and then move where you're handling it, because we don't want the chocolate melting underneath. You can go back and put some more in if you've taken too much off. You're going to seam all that in until it's almost invisible. This bit's come away. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Chocolate's quite thin there and it's still soft. I'm trying to do this before it's really ready. Okay, so we're just going to paint the eye sockets in, and for that I've got some brown luster dust. We'll give them a dust on over it as well, over the surface. You can just kind of tap it on and make them look aged. We have a bit too much. This one's going to look a bit brown and dug up looking, but I don't mind that. Kind of hides some of the dodgier bits. Should have some lighter colours. some ivory. Just edible luster dust. This is an ivory pearl. Okay. Brush them and give them a shimmer. A well dug up look. And this is just some orange extract. You could use lemon or anything else. I'm just going to mix that through with the luster for painting out the eye sockets. And inside the nasal cavity. This isn't like water, it's an alcohol, and it's also got a tiny bit of propylene glycol and orange oil in it, which means that it dries out and it's not going to affect your chocolate. And with a bit more dusting and some drying out, that's pretty much just about it done. I'm going to give them a rough dust with some pastry brush, like a powder brush. For the freshly dug up look.